Hey, shalom, y'all. Shalom. Okay, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem Rakakadash. Double honors to our apostles, the great millstone, our elders of GMS. Okay, and salutation, peace, and blessings to you, whole select of the children of Israel. All right, that's laboring in this truth, all right, that are faith based, and are just sick and tired of these abominations of this wicked ass world. All right, what I have here is a pretty good video for you guys to watch if you go to Rumble. I couldn't find this on YouTube. Maybe it is on YouTube, but I couldn't find it on YouTube. All right, and maybe some brothers may have already covered this as well, but more and more, Second Thessalonians is coming out in full effect where this devil is revealing himself for the devil that he is. And even though these women, these Edomites, they lack of power, but they've been given positions of power, in this world, which is another sign that this world is completely out of order. But they're spokesmen for Esau, Edom. All right, and they're just openly now they're coming out openly, showing you who they are, as the scripture says. They're openly coming out, and like the scripture, Job 9:24 says, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. Clear example when you watch this video. Clear examples, obvious. It's an obvious example of these people are evil, man, and they were created as such to be evil. And there ain't no modern white man, he's changed, and you run away from those fools that speak that madness, man. But here again is them showing you exactly who they are. Only one that's not picking up who these devils really are is just foolish Negroes, foolish, the dumbass Northern Kingdom who, in all reality, they think they're like Issacharites, man. And hell, Issacharites, Ephraim as well. Them motherfuckers think they white, man. They actually think they're the part of the so-called white man in all reality, But anyway, with the rumbling, let me read the scripture real quick. This is the NLT version of Second Thessalonians 2. Okay, and I'm gonna start at 7. For this lawlessness is already at work secretly. Okay, and it will remain secret until the one who is holding it back steps out of the way. Then the man of lawlessness will be revealed. But the Lord, our Messiah, Yahweh Shai, will kill him with the breath of his mouth and destroy him with the splendor of his coming. This man will come to do the work of Satan with counterfeit power and signs and miracles. If this isn't a sign, then unfortunately I can't help you. Let me go back because I'm gonna read this. Read it in the King James version first. So, here's the video here, and just listen to the words of this devil, what she's speaking. All right, and listen.
Hello. My name is Dr. Meryl Nass, and I and Dr. Kat Lindley will be talking about the new WHO documents. You've heard from my last two colleagues that the rulers of many countries and many other apparatchiks have been wantonly breaking the law over the last 3 years. They have had no concern about obeying the law, and they want to protect themselves. Let's see. Oops. Okay. We're undergoing a soft coup, and the idea is to create...
Okay, let me look this up real quick, okay? And I'm not sure how you spell the word, but we're gonna figure it out. Okay, Google, look up cool. Not cool. It looked up cool. Give me a second here. Okay, Google, look up a military coup. It's COUP.
According to Wikipedia, in a coup, it is the...
Okay, here we go. Or coup d'etat. Okay, let me look this up. Her words were what? A soft coup? But let's do this. Okay. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Coup d'etat. This is what she said there. She said a soft coup, though, right? A sudden, violent, and unlawful seizure of power from a government. Okay, and that's not even Wikipedia. This is Wikipedia here. Also known as a coup, is an illegal and overt attempt by the military or other government elites to unseat the incumbent leader. A sub-coup is when a leader, having come to power through legal means, tries to stay in power through illegal means. Okay, so you know what a coup is now. All right, I always knew it. I just didn't know the definition. All right, so let me continue playing this here.
Create a whole new set of laws, and they want to protect themselves. Let's see. Oops. Okay. We're undergoing a soft coup, and the idea is to create a whole new set of laws and ignore the existing human rights laws and other laws under the pretext of
A new set of laws. And what did this witch say?
To create a whole new set of laws and ignore the existing human rights laws and other laws under the pretext of pandemic preparedness and the biosecurity agenda. 70 countries at least are involved with this, 50 supported by the US. And the justification requires you to believe that pandemics are common and that they're caused by humans catching diseases from animals, from what they call spillover. And Fauci and Daszak have pushed this idea continuously over the last 3 years. Two examples. This is one Tony Fauci said in the journal Cell. In a human-dominated world in which our human activities represent aggressive, damaging, and unbalanced interactions with nature, we will increasingly provoke new disease emergences. Daszak and Fauci's two lieutenants said the same thing. We must realize in our crowded world, human behaviors, environmental changes, and inadequate public health mechanisms can turn obscure animal viruses into existential human threats. And who is going along with this? Basically, all the major multinational organizations, as well as all our health authorities. The WHO is developing through all its nations, but with the WHO Directorate in the United States in charge, a pandemic treaty and amendments to the existing international health regulations that will remove the human rights protections currently embedded in the IHRs, will enforce surveillance, censorship, get rid of freedom of speech, require governments to censor and only push a single narrative. Also, we will be subject, if they can make this work, to vaccines developed in 100 days, which the organization CEPI is planning to do. And one of the people who founded CEPI was Jeremy Farrar, who is now the chief scientist at the WHO, to bring this forward. Other things that amendments do is to bind the states so they're no longer recommendations but enforceable edicts. Provide a liability shield, get rid of intellectual property rights, move supplies from one country to another, enforce digital passports, and the Director General of WHO can demand that a pandemic or a potential pandemic exists. He can just declare it with no standards, and then countries around the world will have to obey. Also, the WHO will tell you what drugs you can and can't use in your nation once a pandemic is declared. Obviously, the
Let me read the scripture real quick. Clear sign. You can see where this is headed. I don't know why this scripture isn't coming up. Maybe I'm spelling it wrong. I just got off my hike. That's my excuse for not having a clear head. I just came off my hikes that I do, man, are, what the, advanced athletes do. I can't do it as the way I used to. My knee is healing. And that's not an excuse. I'm used to pushing myself to the limit, beating myself up. But let me find the scripture. Give me a second. I don't know why I can find the scripture. Let me try and look this up. Okay. It's still not coming up. Go back. Okay, here we go. It's Mark. Okay, 3. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but hath an end. And this is an example of that here. It's a beautiful example of this. They're rising up against these austerity measures, or another term they use, draconian measures. Okay.
the budget will increase.
It's sorry for taking so long. Again, my head is, I'm just trying to get my breath back.
One Health is another part of this. One Health is a concept that was created to enable the WHO, with these documents, to take over jurisdiction of everything in the world.
And that's what they're doing.
By saying that climate change
and listen, it's what they're going to do. And there's nothing no one can do about it. But again, there's going to be a great insurrection, as the scripture says, a great insurrection. These Edomites are going to rise up, man, and again, their hope is to prevent these things from happening, which it really is ultimately prophecies, which Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is not with these people to prevent anything, to stop anything from happening. All right. This word here, you look it up here, and it's coming. And we're not the cause of these things, which we're going to be blamed for. The Israelites are going to be blamed for all this that is happening. You know, everything that's going to happen, everyone rising up, even if they're not of the Lord, the Israelites is going to take the blame for it. Insurrection, a violent uprising against an authority or government. And remember, I looked up soft coup d'etat. Coup d'etat. A self-coup is when a leader, having come to power through legal means, tries to stay in power through illegal means. By one estimate, there were 457 coup attempts from 1950 to 2010, half of which were successful. Most coup attempts occurred in the mid-1960s, but there were also a large number of coup attempts in the mid-70s and early 90s. Coups occur in the post-Cold War period have been more likely to result in democratic systems than Cold War coups, through coups still mostly perpetrated authoritarianism. Okay? Anyway, let me continue to play this here.
Animals, plants, water systems, ecosystems are all central to health. Also embedded in this concept is a peculiar notion that humans are no longer of greater value than animals. And I've got the quote there from the Lancet in January. Nope. Yeah, no.
Okay, this other woman speak. I haven't listened to her yet. Let me see if it plays, this video here plays her.
Hello? Isaac. The WHO is developing through all its nations, but with the WHO Directorate in the United States and China. One Health is another
Health Assembly established an intergovernmental Thank you. I'm Dr. Kat Lindley. I'm Croatian, born and American trained family physician. I'm going to cover the treaty. So in December of 21, in a consensus decision that was titled World Together, the World Health Assembly established an intergovernmental negotiating body to draft and negotiate a treaty with the aim to strengthen pandemic prevention, preparedness, and response. The zero draft, called WHO CA Plus, was released on February 1st, 2023. Even though the World Health Organization failed miserably in preventing the spread of COVID-19, the CA Plus draft, as is, would dramatically expand the authority to declare a pandemic and thereby trigger provisions in the treaty that would reallocate resources and encourage governments to waive intellectual property rights. The treaty aims to expand an international bureaucracy for health emergency with an additional budget that is estimated.
All right, you get the point. I might play some more of this, but I wanted to read a scripture here. And there's actually a couple of them here. This is the book of Isaiah, the 9 and 19. Through the wrath of the Lord Yahweh Shai of hosts is a land darkened, and the people shall be as a fuel of fire. No man shall spare his brother, and he shall snatch on the right hand and be hungry, and he shall eat on the left hand, and they shall not be satisfied. They shall eat every man the flesh of his own arm. Here, let me get this other scripture here. For wickedness burneth as fire. Give me a second here. Okay, Isaiah, the 13th chapter as well. Here, let me look at this other scripture. Against the Egyptians. Isaiah 19, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. Scriptures can't be stressed enough. This is what's coming. This is what's coming.
Estimated by the World Bank to be 3 times the current budget of the WHO. The nation members shall raise financial resources to implement the treaty and commit not less than 5% of their national health budget to be devoted to health emergencies. This treaty also calls on the parties to tackle false, misleading misinformation or disinformation, thus forming its own version of Ministry of Truth. Important concept that Dr. Meryl Nass covered was One Health approach under Article 18, and I urge everyone to actually read this article. The link,
which is what the scriptures refer to as unrighteous decrees.
which sounds very benign, but is potentially catastrophic. By their definition, local health concerns deemed a public health threat can be controlled at global level, giving WHO the right to intervene anywhere at any time. One Health, therefore, includes not only human health, but also the health of animals, agricultural plants, and environment. If passed, WHO would have control over every aspect of existence on Earth. The WHO would not necessarily prioritize human health, but rather would balance human health with animal and plant health,
And reading that
as
here,
well as environment.
proposed World Health Organization CA plus, aka Pandemic Treaty. Okay, intergovernmental negotiating body. Top 10 reasons to oppose the Pandemic Treaty. And you can see, and you can read the 10 here, which we already know these things. The WHO wants complete control, no duh. Common but differential responsibilities, global pandemic supply chain networks, speed up regulatory approval of drugs. Just here, this works, and so take this. Support for gain of function research, pathogen access of benefit sharing systems, attempts to justify restrictions of human rights, censorship, parental and enormous unspecified costs, and additional bureaucracies. You can see all that.
Environmental health, such as climate change. The bottom line is the previously encouraged recommendation by WHO now would become mandatory.
Isaiah 10:1 in the NLT, what sorrow awaits the unjust judges and those who issue unfair laws. They deprive the poor of justice and deny the rights of the needy among my people. They prey on widows and take advantage of orphans. Told you, this man is the devil.
Mandatory obligations to be followed by all member states. Also, WHO will be able to, on basis of perceived emergency, implement travel restrictions via digital passport, border closure, mandate certain lockdowns like masking, vaccination, approved diagnostic tools and treatments. Preparedness are the One Health, One World. How do we stop this? If CA Plus fails to achieve two-thirds majority or after adoption fails to secure at least 30 ratifications, it will not pass. We need to pass national and state legislation to block the treaty and the amendments to the IHR. We also need to maintain our national sovereignty and human rights as we know them, and we must exit the WHO. Thank you.
Okay, you see? I had to come back outside. Ugh. So it's grab a scripture here. Second Ezra 16. And I know it's further down. Here's somewhere. Oh, there we go. Straight to it. Second Ezra 16:7. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying. And I know this is referring to invading armies. But at the same time, these invading armies is gonna come at the time where there's going to be a great major insurrection going on, when there's going to be people rising up, the people against the king. What's the scripture? They shall disregard the kings or something of that extent. And I'm not sure if it's in the Apocrypha or not. Let me look up the word, and I think it's disregard. The scripture is escaping me right now. Slock it. Again, more just King James Version, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and that right grievance which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. And what will ye do in the day of visitation? And in the desolations which shall come from far? To whom will ye flee for help? And where will you leave your glory? The scripture that just popped in my head. Hold on, I think she just shut the door. No, she's still in there. So ain't no time to be falling asleep, y'all, and slipping up and going to have a good time and partying. Cause these temptations getting fucking thrown at me from left and right, and fighting this shit it's a continuing battle, man. It's just, again, just the spirit of, the left hand working heavy big time, just trying to distract you and take you away. I don't want no pleasures of this world, and I may have time where I'm starting with my walks, got my brace on, and and that's where I find moments of relaxation in the time, and that kind of funny in those times of stressful moments, and there's stress on the body, working out, cardio, which sounds kind of crazy, but I find more a period of relaxation than I find a moment of peace in those moments. That's why it's important, man. Don't be sitting around doing nothing and watching that goddamn television, that damn television, that the stupid tube, nothing to learn on it, literally. But again, there ain't no time to be getting And this ain't no time of relaxation. It's not no time for none of that. Anyway, Job 5:12, he disappointed the devices of the crafty so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. And if you don't know this devil and what he has planned, and again, it's clearly that your destiny is just being destroyed. It is your destiny is destruction. And at the enterprise. And I'm not gonna do it right now. Let me play the rest of this, and well, that's the end of it. But hold on, this one here. What else this devil has to say? Which is probably.
No, I had one more.
Well,
Oh, he's okay.
Well.
He has left. This is not my latest version of the slide deck. It's okay. Thank you.
Satan being divided. So I guess that's it. So you can watch this on your own. And Rumble don't do any censorship like YouTube. There's some great videos on Rumble too. Again, YouTube, man, is just full of shit. The hell with YouTube. So on. Till next time, Lord willing, shalom.